Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The beauty of the message of Adironda is always present. It's dripping with love, concern, advice, many times fun. Our messages are the same. They come from the same place. If you've never seen channeling before, you would say, well, every channeler has their own platform. And every channeler has something that they're talking about the other one is not talking about. Really? Have you really listened to a number of channelers together? Years ago, I told my partner, I said, put channelers on stage together. So that rather than that which people thought were independent ideas and perhaps even doctrines or philosophies would be seen as an alliance of love, an alliance of compassion, maybe given in different words, in different personalities, in different ways. But the other side of the veil, dear ones, is the other side. There's no other side and then another side and another side and another side. There's one place on the other side of the veil that they all come from. When they're authentic, they talk about love and compassion and help and hope. The messages of Kryon and Adironda, specifically, for all of these years have been the changes that are occurring. Not just the changes, but the new tools that you have that can take advantage of an energy you didn't expect. Getting in touch with things that you didn't expect that are in you, always have been in you. Not to mention the healing that really is yours. This is, of course, esoterics, the metaphysics that we have spoken of for years and years, and that has been known by a niche market, if you want to call it, of those who would be available to talk to you or write the books. But suddenly the niche explodes. And it doesn't explode into everyone being strange. It explodes into truth. Alliance with science and common sense. And those starting to understand that God is bigger than anything they were ever told. If you even want to use the word God, the creative source of the universe, bigger than anything you've ever been told. I want to give you a premise to think about, just something to think about. There have been those who had said things happen as they should. They happen for a reason. And even those are not metaphysical have those kinds of statements coming out of their mouth. Well, I believe things happen for a reason. And if you've heard that come from those who would never be in a meeting like this, it's because intuitively they feel it. That somehow there is a guidance that would allow for things to happen if you were in the right place at the right time. Now, quite often you think, well, there are always bad things. Dear ones, this is what we have taught for many, many years. Being in the right place at the right time and intuitively following a path will take you where you belong, and it's good news. It'll take you into the right relationships, into the right jobs, into the right words to say at a certain time. It'll take you into comfort and peace when you don't have any. It'll take you to places that will be the help for others who are looking, who need something from you. Every old soul listening to this will know that you've been put in a place perhaps that you didn't like, where somebody would say, what do I do? And out would come comments from you that you didn't think you had. It would be loving comments and compassionate comments. That's being in the right place at the right time. Now, I want to tell you something, an answer to a question. Dear Kryon, we're in this pandemic. Is it the right time and the right place? Yes, absolutely. That means it was foretold. I will tell you this, dear planet Earth. You were the ones who chose this when you walked through 2012. What is the fast track to a wild card called a new Earth? And that is to stop everything and start it again. Because there's a tendency, if not an axiom, that when you reboot something, it gets fresher and better, and you tend not to make the same mistakes because you have another chance. You take a look at what was and what doesn't work, and you don't repeat it. I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow, but right now, I'll talk about a big one. You know, you have had disease before on this planet. You've had flus before. Now, maybe they weren't killer flus. We're not talking about that. We'll just talk about contagious disease. Let's just talk about that for a moment. You realize that this connection you have between yourselves is not new. How many years have you been flying to other countries within hours? How many years have you had up to 2,000 flights a day, always going everywhere? And the answer is decades. Oh, yeah. So you might say that any time you had an infectious disease, SARS, or any of the others, there was always the potential of mass infection. What you saw with this disease, with this virus, is really how it works. The one affecting the others, it becomes exponential. That's how it works. Ask anyone about these curves and how that works. And yet, it never happened. Did you notice that? Didn't you find that odd? That these flus never got past first base, even though your connections were just like they are today. Just as many people talking to each other, just as many people touching each other, just as many people flying all over the world doing everything, and yet they stayed contained until now. This is the right place and the right time. Kryon, are you saying Spirit created this? Absolutely not. You created it. When you find out how, there'll be anger. We have said this before. The full story is not yet available to you. It's something that when you find out how, you'll realize there was inappropriateness. This disease was not man-made, you know that. But it got out of hand. This was something that humans did, but at a time you needed to have it happen in certain aspects, in certain ways. Do you realize that the only other way to bring the world to its knees is war? Think about this. You don't have a war. There was not mass destruction. You've said goodbye to many souls, dear ones. They're coming back. So many of them right away, faster than you think. Much faster than you think. It's a new paradigm. Throw away anything anybody ever told you about how long it takes to turn around. But more than that, this planet has shut down. It's odd, isn't it, that this one took and none of the others did? Because you have the same actual variability, curves, projections for any contagious disease that you have for this one. And yet the others didn't catch, and this one did. Right place at the right time for planet Earth past 2012 to go to a place it needed to be gotten to so that you can restart. And when you do, things are going to come, what they say, out into the light that were dark. You're not going to be able to start a corrupt thing again. Think about this for a moment. Not like it was, because the very existence of corruption, people looking the other way, going here, going there, doing their thing, requires everybody does the same thing for years. And all of that comes to zero. And when you start rebuilding things, you're wiser. You have an evolved consciousness of what is there and what is not there. Right time, right place This was no accident. Created by humans, allowed by humans, but in a different time, a different paradigm than the ones before. So I want you to look at all of these things and see the purpose and that which is the opportunity now that it's going to start being released. Dear ones, I close with this. You have an opportunity to change something that needs to be changed. What if I ask you this? Wouldn't it be great when this seminar is over, I want you to think about something. You're going to turn on your television and you're going to go to a certain channel and they're going to say, here are the facts of today. Here's where the virus is today. Here are all the ones who have recovered. Let's interview these ones. Let's go to the hospital for a moment. They're having a party here for those who have come out. Here is the hope this planet has. Let's go to this person who talks about the factory that's going to reopen and all the people are coming back and the surpluses that have to be sold first and all those things. Let's talk about a recovering economy in a way that nobody is talking about. Let's look at those grand lists of those who all recovered, 99%. And let's look at the fact that they're heroes. I've always suggested there should be T-shirts. Call it the 99. And you wear it around, and people will shake your hand and say, I'm sorry you had to go through this. Thank you. We did our best to stay inside, and you had to go through it. Thank you. And they could perhaps even have conventions where they're immune now. They're immune at this wave. What if it happens again? What if it happens in 7 years again? What if it mutates? Dear ones, there's a lesson to be learned here, and it's not about vaccines. It's about your immune system. That's where it's at. I've said this before, but wouldn't it be great if you could tune into a channel that gave you hope, facts, and truth? And when you turned it off, you'd say, I like this. There's hope here. Good. Did you see that? Did you see these people doing this? Did you see that? This is returning to normal. I'm looking forward to this. I'll be careful to social distance and all these things I say for a while, but isn't it great that we're coming through it? And that's not what you're getting. I hope that some human beings will take it upon themselves to create information distribution with hope, truth, and facts so that you can tune in and get the whole thing, especially that which is such good news about so many who have recovered. I am crying in love with humanity, and I'll be back. And so it is.